And good morning. Here we are on Monday, the 1st of February. We made it through January and moving into February. Yeah, how about some snow? We didn't get all that much here. I don't know, a few inches, maybe 2 or 3, uh, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, especially given what they were, telling us. Good morning, Susan and Deb and Rachel. Yeah, I was expecting, a foot of snow, and maybe some other places got more. I think further north, um, they were expecting a lot more snow. So I don't know, but not too much here, which is good. Good morning, Dora. I'm not a big fan of snow. I mean, it's okay. Uh, I like to look at it, but I don't like to drive in it. And that to me is the beauty of Delaware, is that sometimes you get snow, but it doesn't last very long. It melts and goes away. Good morning, Gwen. Um, and yeah, my kids were all saying that nobody gets a snow day anymore, and that's the truth, right? My husband was super excited. He's always super excited about snow, and watching to see how much it is and thinking about it. And I'm like, man, it's even less. Like, what do you care? Unless the internet goes out, you're still gonna be working. And everybody's still gonna be working. Um, the only person who took a snow day was my son, um, because he didn't want to drive in the snow, so he took a personal day. But he's the only guy that has to go out, so I feel like he deserves a snow day. The rest of us didn't get one. Good morning, Ruth. Oh, you get a snow day, Rachel. Well, that's great. Uh, even virtual school gets a snow day. I that's pretty amazing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think today is my daughter is supposed to go in. She's doing kind of a hybrid thing where it's mostly online, but there's a few labs and things that she has to do in person. And I think today might be one of hers, but I don't know whether she'll have to do that or not. We'll see. I guess it's supposed to snow some today, but it doesn't look like much is going to happen. I always have a very pessimistic view of snow in general. My husband is always expecting, a 12-foot snowstorm, but I'm more skeptical about that, knowing how things are here. We usually just don't get very much, and it doesn't last. Although I'm going to say I am sad to look that they changed my forecast. I thought I was going to have 50-degree weather on Friday, and it's going to be like 40. So that's really that's not great. But I guess it's better than 20, so I'm not going to complain too much. All right, so let's talk today a little bit about our thoughts. So we've talked about this before, how your thoughts build your reality, and how important it is, the things that we surround ourselves with, the influences that we take in, and how they will then build our reality. So we want to make sure that they're good, right? They're positive and truthful, right? So you don't have to reject negative information or negative thoughts, right? It wouldn't be truthful to say that those things don't exist, right? It's information, right? And our mind is always taking in information and processing it. But again, we get to choose which thoughts we're going to hang on to and which ones we are going to note and then let them pass on. So There's a difference between knowing that there are terrible things going on in the world and really dwelling on that, really sort of carrying that around with you all day long, every day. Um, we don't need to deny the truth of things, but we also don't need to sort of wallow in it. We can turn our face to that which is more positive, because it's just as true, right? Um, I think sometimes we get the feeling that there is somehow more uh, power and depth and importance to the negative things that happen in the world, um, and that the positive things don't hold any merit, or they're not serious, right? They're not, um, but they really are. It doesn't mean that we don't want to change the things that are negative, but the best way to do that is to bring in more positive. And we know this. I mean, we know this because, yoga philosophy tells us this, but we also know this from our own practice and our own interaction with people and things. Um, I, I hate to say it, but a lot of it all comes back to like dog training, right? So there's a lot about dog training and dealing with animals that is uh, applicable to humans and to our interaction with other humans. Um, and one of the big um, takeaways I always had from dog training was you want to reward the positive, and instead of focusing on the negative, yelling at your dog after they've done something damaging is pointless, right? They really won't make that connection, and they'll instead become afraid or um, associate you with something negative, right? Better you watch them, and when they do something that you want them to do, reward them. Um, it takes more effort, right? It takes more awareness. You need to be more um, engaged. And the same thing with, children behaving the way they behave. It's very easy to react when someone makes you angry or does something wrong and make a whole big deal of it, blow up, right? Um, that seems, um, it seems like the right thing to do. You're trying to correct that behavior. But in truth, it's lazy and it's not very effective, right? So you are reacting to something rather than acting. Better, you should watch and see when that good behavior is happening. You want to praise, you want to reward. Um, so this works for us too, right? So when you find yourself slipping into negative thinking, um, either dwelling on the state of some difficult situation in the world or something about yourself, something you've done, right? Maybe bad habits you're slipping into. I know we've, a lot of us, gotten out of the habits that we try to stick to over this time that we've been at home. A lot of eating crazy food, a lot of not getting exercise, not sticking with some of our the things that we try to do. We're just kind of letting that go, right? And to some extent, that may be necessary, right? I mean, maybe we don't need to hold ourselves to such a hard standard at times. But when you feel that happening, instead of being angry, instead of being feeling negative, maybe think about how positive it is that you can do that, right? That you are able to take some time off, to do a little less now. Um, when you are thinking that you aren't doing what you should be doing, think instead, I have the opportunity to do different. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Um, and when those things happen, notice it. give yourself praise, give yourself a reward. Um, it doesn't have to be a cookie. It could be just something nice that you do for yourself. It could just be really appreciating what you were doing. And I don't know how that can be meaningful for you. Some people like to write down things, make lists, list accomplishments. Um, some people have a way of, um, they can reward themselves in a way that's positive, right? I think, you know, in our culture, food is a big reward, which is a kind of negative thing and not the best way to use food, I don't think. But there are other ways, there are other things. So find what works for you and reward, and redirect, right? That's the other thing. It works for dogs, it works for kids, and it'll work for you. Redirect that attention. When you find yourself going down that negative rabbit hole, do something else. Find something else to occupy your mind. We do this in our meditation all the time, right? Our mind starts wandering, we bring it back. Our mind starts thinking about something else, we come back. So we know how to do this. We just have to expand it and do it on a larger scale. Um, and think of, right, it's a form of training. Just like we're trying to train our dog or, train our kids. But honestly, I think when it comes to dogs and kids, you're not so much training them as you're training yourself how to deal with them in an effective way. So it's a sort of a symbiotic relationship, and it's the same thing, right? You are trying to direct your mind in a good way, but also learn how to do that. And every time you're doing it, you're going to get better at it. And then ideally, at some point, this becomes just second nature. Um, we don't dwell on the negative thoughts. We know the result of that, right? We know that those are not, uh, they take us to places we don't want to go to, right? They bring us down, they bring us into depression and sadness, and just generally, you know, you get into like a spiral that is very hard to get back out of. So don't even go there, right? Just cut it off. Oh, I've had enough, right? Had enough. Let's move on. Something else. We talk about this in yoga a lot, that, uh, and this is a real basis of Ayurvedic um, medicine, is this idea of consumption, right? We are consuming all the time. And one of our big issues with our physical body, mental body, everything is the inability to assimilate what we consume. So we're eating food that doesn't agree with us. We are reading things that make us anxious and sad. We are watching shows that scare us and make us fearful and worried. Um, we can't tell the difference between what is real and what is not real. Um, what is a real threat and what is just something imagined. And this leads to a lot of trouble, right? Um, we want to keep things simple, right? And if right, a great place to start with that is just cutting back. And just, when people are having trouble with their digestion, one of the things that people recommend is this idea of an elimination diet, right? Where you start with the most basic things, and you add a few things in, see how that works, and then if it doesn't, remove it, try something else. Um, we can do that with everything we consume, right? if you have a suspicion that this late night habit that you have of looking at Facebook is what's keeping you up at night, just drop it for a while, see what happens. If you think social media in general is giving you a headache or anxiety or just a feeling of uncomfortable, just let it go for a while. See how you feel. Um, Eliminate the things from your life that you feel could be causing you some anxiety and some trouble. Um, you can always add them back in if it doesn't make any difference. You may be wrong. Maybe that's not what it is. Um, but the simpler and more straightforward you can have the influences and the um, inputs in your life, the better, right? And if you feel like there's too much, you're taking in too much, too many different things, cut back. Just cut back, um, and start over. Right? Start from scratch. Add in a few things. See how that works. Let it go. Um, None of this stuff is hard, right? But it is. It takes a little work, and it takes a little self discipline, right, to do this. But I've got to tell you that um, you'll feel so much better for it. So if you're feeling, and again, like we all have to reach our limit with this. Just like, when you are feeling unwell, you have to get to a certain point of feeling poorly before you're willing to do anything about it. So if you have reached that, maybe you haven't yet, but if you have, that's a place to start. And if you haven't, but you just want to, kind of work proactively, that's okay too. But I got to tell you, the thing with humans is that we generally don't change until it gets so painful that we need to, right? We usually aren't super proactive in our positive changes. It's a reaction to something, and that's just kind of how we are. That's okay. But you have these tools, um, and feel free to use them. All right. So let's do asana. Maybe we'll do a little breathing beforehand. Just even breath, sitting up tall, relax the shoulders. Let the arms just rest. See if you can relax all the way down the arms, down to the wrist and hands and fingers. We're breathing in through the nose, back out through the nose. And we're doing kind of an even breath. So just focusing on the inhales and the exhales, trying to keep them roughly the same length. Notice any tension that you're holding in the body. Maybe the jaw or the forehead, shoulders. And then we're just going to drop the chin down toward the chest. Stay here and breathe. And then we're moving the head around. Big circle. Moving one way and the other. Back to center, arms wide. Take a deep breath in and then exhale, hands together. Inhale wide. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift the hands. We'll gaze up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Once more, lifting up. And then right hand down by your side, reach across. Switch. Back up. Let's lift the shoulders, roll them back. And roll forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind, sit up tall. Deep breath, twist. Back to center. Inhale and twist. And back to center. Walk the hands out in front. And then squeeze the shoulders together, gaze up. And then back to center. Tabletop. We'll sit back on the heels. We might rock a little bit side to side. Back up, tabletop to downward dog. And then step the feet up. And we're here in a fold. Rising slowly. Up to mountain, breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right foot steps back. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands down. And we're going to step back to downward dog. Inhale, high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Moving back up into downward dog. One more deep breath, and then right foot steps up. Set the knee down, arms overhead. Hands back to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift high. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift. Arms, exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Drop your knee, arms overhead. Hands to the mat, stepping back. Downward dog. Moving forward to high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. And once more. Lifting up. Then lower. Moving back up to tabletop or upward dog to downward dog. Take one more breath. And then the left foot steps up. Drop your knee. Lift the arms. And hands down to the mat. Back foot steps up. Fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lifting high. And we're back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Stepping to the side. Hands to the waist. Take a deep breath. And then lean forward. You bring the hands down. Hands back to the waist, engage the thighs. Use that strength to lift. Breath in and breath out. Turning to face the front. Right leg is out, left leg behind. Interlace the fingers, draw the shoulders back. Deep breath, fold forward. Let's lift up about halfway. Keep the hands behind. And don't think about this too much. Just shift the weight into the right leg and lift that back leg. See how it works for you today. Maybe pretty good, maybe not that good. That's okay. Just try. And then set the foot back down. Back foot steps up. Let's bring the arms overhead. And back to mountain. Breath in, breath out. Stepping to the side again. Another fold. Just keep the hands at the waist. Take a breath. Fold. Hands can come down onto the legs or wherever. And then let's bring the hands to the floor, or if you've got a block, you could use a block here if you don't want to be as far over as this. Right hand to center, left hand at the hip. Take a breath, and then we're going to twist toward the left. Maybe extend the left arm. Back to center, switch, take a breath, and twist. Back to center, rising up. Take a breath, hands overhead. And then back down by your side. Turning, so we're facing the front again. Left leg is out. Squeeze back the shoulders, deep breath. Fold forward. And then lifting up halfway, keep the hands behind. Same as on the other side, just shift the weight over onto the left and see about lifting that back leg. Maybe just a little, that's fine. See how balanced you feel today. And then set the foot back down. Back foot steps to the front, arms overhead. And back to mountain. Breath in, breath out. And let's do a couple more balance while we're up here. We'll do tree. So standing on the left, we've got the right kickstand on the side or up on the calf higher, right? We've got that central focus here. Knee rotates out to the side, nice and upright. You can extend arms if that's a good thing for you today. But see what's working. And then set the foot down, switch sides. And we're trying to do, pretty much the same on one side as the other. So doing the same basic thing with the feet. Steady with the breath. And then set the foot down, bicycle legs. Standing at mountain, let's lift up the right knee. So we're up about the height of the hip. Foot is flexed, nice and strong. If this is hard, you can, just touch the toe and work on it that way. Set the foot down, switch sides. And put back down, bicycle legs a little bit. Come on down to a seat on the mat. Soles of the feet together. Sitting up tall. Take a deep breath. Folding forward. Come on back up. Let's lift the knees. Catch a hold of the toes or the tops of the feet. Lean back a little. Find that balance. And then finding an extension if possible, or maybe not. Maybe we're just going to stay balanced. It's fine. And then bend the knees, set the feet back down, extend the legs, take a deep breath, fold forward. And back up. Let's bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Lowering down. Take a few breaths here. Then we're going to bring the right ankle on top of the left knee. Bringing that left leg in, or Maybe just setting the left foot down and pushing the right knee away from the body, whichever intensity you need today. And then set the foot back down. We're going to keep that right ankle on top of the knee. Goalpost arms or arms out to a T, lowering that left knee down. Maybe gaze to the right. And then coming back to center. Let's switch the legs. So now left ankle on the right. And right leg might be coming in close to the body. And then resting the right foot back down. Keep that left ankle on the knee. And now lowering to the right side. Gaze left. Back to center. Bring both feet back down to the mat. We're going to bump the knees together and walk the feet to the outer edges of the mat. And you bring the arms up over the head. And then we're going to bring everything back to the center, setting up for bridge. So we're going to do one regular bridge and one supported bridge. So heels back close to the body, hands by your side, feet are about hip width apart, so not too wide. And then we're pressing down, hands and feet, maybe interlace the fingers underneath. And then lowering back down. take a moment here and then find your block. We're lifting up again, finding a good location for the support, and breathe. And lifting up. Let's rest back down. Soles of the feet together. Knees apart. Maybe hands up over the head again. You could grab opposite elbows here if you like how that feels. And then everything back to center. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock side to side. We will do some circles with the knees. Moving one way and then the other. And we're going to do happy baby. So reaching for the ankles or the instep, whatever you can reach here. And then we're drawing the feet up as much as we can. So they're kind of facing the ceiling, right? And the knees are angling down toward the armpits. Some variation of that, right? And you can be still here or you could rock a little if that is preferable to you. And then release it. Extend the legs. Straight up, hands by your side, palms resting on the mat. And then lowering down. You could do one leg at a time, both legs together. Your choice, just use the palms on the side of the body to just kind of help stabilize you. And then moving into Shavasana, you can flip the hands so the palms are resting, or the palms are facing up. just breathe, moving into Shavasana. So typically in Shavasana and in meditation poses and things, we frequently have the palms facing up. And that is traditionally to show that we are open to receive, um, whatever we may be given, right? Peace, encouragement, guidance, whatever the universe may have to offer, we are open to that. Keep that breath moving through the body. Focus on the breath or on some peaceful thing, an image or a word. Maybe focusing on just the sensations in the body. Feel yourself sinking down into the mat. Knowing that we have control over our thoughts, over our choice of thoughts is important, right? But like everything, knowing is one thing, doing is another, right? So that's a two-part job. Knowing is the first thing. And if you know that, then you're already ahead of the game because a lot of people just don't know that. They really do believe that they are at the mercy of their thoughts and the things that are happening in their life. And they're right? They are because they aren't aware of their ability to control that. You are aware, right? That's the first part. Second part is doing it. That's the harder part, right? But we work at it every day. It is a practice. Sometimes it's going to get on top of you, and you're not going to see a way to make that happen. Other days, it will seem easier. But like everything in our yoga practice, the more we do it, the better we get. It's like when you are traveling, when you start a new job and you're learning your commute. The first time you go, it seems very long and complicated, and you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing. But as you successfully navigate your way, each day it becomes easier. And then at some point, I hope not too often in your car, but I know you may have had that experience where you have gotten somewhere and you barely remember the drive. You were thinking about something else, or everything about that drive is become so routine that it really doesn't stand out to you anymore. And that's much how it becomes with this idea of controlling our thoughts. When we are really comfortable with that, when we've done it frequently, it is just second nature. We barely notice that we are doing it. Beginning to move then, coming back to movement in the body and awareness. Then making your way up to a seat. You can bring hands together for a breath in and a breath out. Thank you for taking time this morning to share yoga with me on a snowy Monday. I hope you have a really good day. Namaste. Okay, moving directly into meditation, getting comfortable, sit in your comfortable seat, get that comfortable frame of mind. Just get right back in there and breathe, relax, find that steady, comfortable focus. Coming back to awareness. Open the eyes. Breath in and breath out. Okay, great. Meditation and yoga for your Monday. Also, I wanted to mention too, I think I talked about this before with the vaccines, vaccine events that Christiana Care is doing. There wasn't an event this weekend. So if you didn't get an invite or something, don't worry about it. You don't need to fill out the form more than once. If you filled out the form once, that's enough. If you do it multiple times, all that does is kind of gum up the system. So, I mean, if you have signed up multiple times, don't worry about it. They'll sort it out. But don't do it. All you need to do is sign up once, and then you will be, in the queue. And when they have an event, they take a block. The next people in line will get selected for that. They only have, so much vaccine at any given time, and there's more coming all the time, but it is a limited supply, and demand, as you probably can imagine, has been overwhelming. So there certainly isn't enough right now for everybody who wants it. So it's not that you're not on the list, you are, it's just that the list is moving very slowly right now. But yeah, sign up once, they will contact you when an event is coming up, and it's going to be ongoing, right? I mean, it'll be a long time before everyone can get vaccinated, and you just put your name on this list. I know the state has some lists. Just put your name on all the lists and see who calls you first. That being said, I know that at the end of the events, so how this works, right, is you have to thaw out the vaccine, and there's a certain number of doses. If for some reason people don't show up, right, and that happens sometimes, people have appointments but they fail to make them, then they're extra at the end of the day, and you can't keep it. It needs to be used. So at the end of the day, there may be a call out for anybody who can immediately come in and get that. So we did that a few weeks ago, and I think there were 3 people that were able to go get vaccinated from that. But if you have an ability to sort of drop everything and go, you should, and I'll send an email about this too, but you should email me your phone number, right? Preferably your cell phone number, so that if I do hear that they have some, then I can call you and see if you're available to go like right then. But there's no way of knowing, right? You never know how much there is. You never know who will show up and not show up. So, but if you do have the ability to just drop everything and go, that's a possibility too. All right. So enjoy your Monday, and I'm not going to say go make a snowman, because there's not enough snow for that. Plus, it's really cold out. Maybe later in the week it'll be warmer. Okay. Enjoy your day.